Today on the Big Dog Holler Barbecue channel, we're making the perfect tailgate pulled pork. So stay tuned and find out how we made it. Welcome to the Holler, everybody. To get this tailgate pulled pork started, what we have here is roughly a 6.5 pound pork butt from our local Meijer. And then to my right, Marty has brought us a couple simple ingredients. First and foremost, we're going to use Rural King's coarse black pepper to really help attract the nice bark and smoke and everything like that to our pork butt. And then we're going to use some Meat Church Hickory all-purpose barbecue rub. First things first, we need to get this out of the packaging. This is certainly a smaller pork butt than what you might see. I've seen some run as high as 10, 11 pounds. So at 6.5, this one's not going to take quite as long, but certainly adjust things to the size of your pork butt. But let's go ahead and get this out of the package. So now that we have our 6.5 pound pork butt out of the package, we pat it dry with a paper towel to the best of our ability. Let's take a look at a couple things here. As you can see, this one didn't come with much of a fat cap, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem. As you can see, it has some great intermuscular fat underneath. I'm kind of in camp that the fat cap doesn't matter a ton on a pork butt. A big thing that I always look for is this is the money muscle side. Great money muscle on this one here. Ton of intermuscular fat there, so exactly what we're looking for. Certainly the best one at our local Meijer there. So now we're going to come in and trim off a little bit of this fat on the meat side here. Doesn't have to be perfect. A lot of this is going to render out, and again, you can kind of pick it out after you've started to shred your pork butt at the end of the cook. So we're going to go ahead and get this all trimmed up and see you back here in a few seconds. Alright, so now that our pork butt is nice and trimmed, didn't have to take off too much fat, as you can see, without much of a fat cap. There's not much to work with. We're going to go ahead and flip this over to the meat side. Kind of got beat up by the butcher at some point, but luckily pork butt is a pretty forgiving cut, so not too worried about that there. We're going to come in with our Rural King black pepper here. Get a nice layer on both sides. This is a coarse ground black pepper. Again, this is going to work to help attract the bark on our pork butt. Certainly going for a longer smoke tonight, roughly 12 hours, as our tailgate is not until tomorrow. And like I said, you can adjust this recipe to the size of your pork butt, the amount of time you have left, or until dinner, I should say. All of those different factors there. Just looking for a nice light layer of our black pepper here, and we'll go ahead and throw some in that gash as well. Gives us a little bit of access to that inside there. And now that we have pepper all over our pork butt, we're to come in with Meat Church's Hickory barbecue rub. Get a nice layer of that on the outside, following the same pattern as the pepper. Not sure why this rub gives me a little bit of difficulty getting out. Must be the humidity where we're at. Get the sides as well. It's going to help create that nice color to the bark. I know we said the pepper brings the bark itself. This is going to create a nice mahogany color to our bark. Flip this over. And again, we're going fat cap up on the smoker, so we're doing the meat side first here. And we'll pat this in off camera. There we go. Now that our pork butt is nice and seasoned, we're going to let the seasoning adhere roughly 15 to 30 minutes. You could go as long as an hour, or you could even go overnight with something like this in the fridge. While this is happening, we're going to go out at our Masterbuilt 560 Gravity Series, get that fired up, so we'll meet you out there once the seasoning is nice and adhered. So we're out here at our Masterbuilt Gravity Series. Currently have it cranked up to 200 degrees, running off some Bear Mountain Barbecue applewood chunks, as well as some B&B charcoal lump charcoal with some oak blend there. Currently running off our PS54 Blue Eddy. We're going to go ahead and get this thrown on our second shelf here. Like I said, fat cap up. If you have fat cap in this situation, we don't have much of one, but we're going to go ahead and say goodnight to our pork butt for roughly 12 hours, and we'll see you first thing in the morning. So after exactly 12 hours at 6 a.m. the next morning, let's take a look at our pork butt. As you can see, you have a decent bark on the outside of things. We're going to go ahead and get it pulled off, wrapped inside, and put back on the smoker. We'll meet you inside. Alright, so we are back inside and it's time to prepare our wrap. First things first, we're going to add some Ambrosia Honey Co honey to our wrap. You can certainly add just about anything you want to your wrap. This is kind of a more traditional comp wrap. Doesn't have to be too much honey. Some people put it on top and bottom. We're just going to put it on top for the sake of this video. We're going to add some Indian Summer apple juice. Get this added to the top as well. Now that that bark is nice and set, you don't have to worry about any of that washing away. Call that good there. And then we're going to add some more seasoning to it. We're going to add some Meat Church Texas sugar rub. So this is certainly a sweet wrap, but that's right where we want it for today. Certainly not a bad thing. Again, you could add butter, you could add maple syrup, you could add your own favorite seasoning. Doesn't have to be exactly this, but this is what we're going with. So we're going to go ahead and get this wrapped up, thrown back on the smoker, and we'll meet you out there. So we're back out here at our master-built smoker. Gonna go ahead and get our pork butt placed on once again on that middle rack. In this case, you can kind of turn up the temperature as much as you need to. It depends what time lunch or dinner is for you. In this situation, our tailgate's about 11 o'clock. So we're gonna get this placed on, crank it up to 250. That should take about 3 hours, give it a solid hour rest. And that should be perfect for us, but feel free to adjust times and temps to your specifications. It is currently still fat side up in this situation, so we'll see you in about 3 hours once it's hit 205-ish and it's probe tender. So after roughly 3 hours back on the smoker in our wrap, not much to show you, but it is probing tender. One key thing with a pork butt, especially when you do this method overnight, is looking for probe tender rather than a temperature. I've seen these come up and be probe tender at 190. I've seen some still take to 205. So definitely look for probe tender as opposed to a specific temperature. This one's sitting right around 195, 200 in certain spots. So we're gonna go ahead and get this pulled inside and debrief in there. All right, so we're back inside. This is still before the rest, but wanted to show what our finished product is gonna end up looking like here. As you can see, plenty of juice, both from the fat as well as the juice and the honey that we added earlier. You could drain that or keep that in, maybe put it in a fat separator and go from there. The bone is popping out, plenty of jiggle. As you can see, just juice running out from the top. Smells amazing. So we're not gonna shred it here right now. Probably let it rest another hour or so in the oven on warm. But, I mean, at a tailgate, you can customize it in all sorts of different ways. You can put it on a sandwich with just some barbecue sauce, coleslaw, make it into a taco, anything like that. We're just gonna keep it simple and put it on a bun and put some barbecue sauce on from there. So, but that's gonna do it for our video. Best of luck to your favorite college football team or NFL team, and best of luck at your tailgate this weekend. But yeah, there you have it. Whoever eats the most gets the most, so dig in.